Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you guys are at. Hope you're having a fantastic day. It's SoulSaint here, and I wanted to show you guys a little bit what's going on in the free-to-play challenge account that I'm working on today. So, I've been kind of quiet, I won't lie. Last time we did a video, I think it was roughly around like day 10, day 11. And the reason why it's been a little bit quiet is because a lot of the stuff I've been doing has been a little bit more oriented around grinding. And I won't lie, I've been trying to do my very best and kind of keep my perception available when it comes to looking at some of these events, tournaments, as well as like just general missions that I can push and progress in. And I'm just gonna go ahead and show you guys where we're at right now. So as of today, we are currently going in from day 17, 18-ish into day 19 on the daily login rewards. So if you've been keeping along with this free-to-play challenge so far, I kind of squished day 1 and day 2 in because like when we started the account was pretty much roughly about like an hour or two before reset. So day 1 and day 2 are technically kind of like day 0, day 1-ish kind of deal. So just take that for what it's worth. But as of right now, we are about to get 500 energy, and that's kind of a big deal. However, what are we going to use it towards? Well, recently, I kind of made some big progression on the account, and I'm not going to lie, I'm very happy with where we are at. I slowed it down a little bit because as of right now, I just recently hit some big accolades in terms of the account, and I'm going to share them with you. I'm going to share them with you for here just a minute. Let's see if we got anything of value in the Soul Merchant. It looks like it's a no today. I do think that we can get some small victories here and there when it comes to the Altar of Souls. That's great, but it's not something we're going to be like approaching super mandatorily. So, as of right now, I would say, what are the biggest things I've acquired? Let's talk about it. I did push the missions, and I was able to kind of keep on pace with the potion things I was telling you about in the last video. And sure enough, we were able to not only do it, but we got Skull Crown up to 6-star. That's right, that's my third 6-star done. And on top of that, we started to level her up in an area where we're going to start grabbing some more mastery. So now that she can get her 6th-tier mastery, we've been actually leveling her up, along with the rest of the crew here, also getting some additional resources so that they are going to be effective once we start getting them up to 6-star too as well. Now, as it currently stands, my projection when it comes to what's going to be the next 6-star for me, it's a toss-up between Oathbound and Rathalos right now. I think I'm leaning Rathalos for more PvE damage content, maybe even a little bit of like PvP content, but I'm not going to lie, Oathbound might actually have some value that I was not checking out. So we kind of alluded to it a little bit, but one of the missions I'm currently doing right now is at least getting some accessories from stage 5 or higher. I was looking at it and I was like, you know what, man, I kind of feel like one of the things we've been unlucky with is getting a Cold Hard or some kind of turn meter control champion, no HP burn champion, you know, if we don't have the Mordecai like how some other accounts do. So when it comes to Spider, our progression is going to kind of get a little slanted. However, then I started reading into this and I was like, yo, this guy has a 55% chance, which books up to a 65, 70, 75% chance of decreasing every turn meter of the people they hit, and he hits all enemies. So each target has a chance to lose 20% turn meter, which is not only good for controlling the queen, but also the spiderlings too as well. And it's like, that might be some value there. Because as of right now, I'm just kind of brute forcing my way through and trying to wipe the board with all the ads and then go from there into doing as much damage as I can to the boss before the heal, wipe him before the heal so that when she does heal, it's very microscopic or non-existent at all, and then rinse and repeat until the point we get the kill. And that's how I've been making progress so far, but like I said, I do expect some form of a challenge when it comes to how the free-to-play feels, and as we get into the higher stages, you're going to need a little bit more diversity, right? So a lot of our priority progress has been towards developing the clan boss team, which is what those 5 champions I'm looking at right now to take to 6-star is. That's the kind of mindset I have, and I won't lie, it's been a bit of a conundrum trying to figure out which one would be the better play to go. As for PvP side, I did stay in Gold 1 for the 2nd time, and I don't know if you guys saw the quest earlier. We're going to actually hold on to some of these pieces, especially if they have something of value in terms of stats. Because like right now, early game, when it comes to like 4 or 5-star gear, I think 5-star is where I'm starting to look at more primarily. This actually would be valuable for a champion, right? So I'm hoping that maybe we can build some offset pieces that could be valuable for more champions. Now, I did take some time to farm during that 3x speed event that kind of came and gone. And I'm not going to lie, I don't know if you see it on Deacon. We did get 1 banger. And not only that, when you open up the area, or you get to the level where you can open up and unlock Sand Devils and Phantom Shoguns, for example, they give you some of the essences and stuff as a part of like unlocking. As like a, hey, check this out. Maybe use this a little bit, see if you like it, and you know you're gonna realize that it's OP, and you're gonna want to go farm it, right? So that was like their way of kind of reeling us in, right? Well, for us, since we are already experienced in this game and we understand the value of oils, I made sure that when I first unlocked it, I wasn't using it on anything that was not worthwhile. But a nod will be said when it comes to speed sets. One of the things you're looking for, well, is speed, right? And I got a 6-star piece that had speed on it. I immediately rolled it up as high as I could, and then I went for my first one. I didn't do a full Ascension of 6, because we want to make sure what we get is what we want, right? But I rolled it up one time just to see what we got, and we hit speed. I immediately hit that blue button, and that blue button got me all the way up to 5. Now, I don't have enough potions, and it's not realistic that we're going to be able to farm this right away. However, the extra 9 points of speed that we have right now just immediately propelled the value that is Deacon, and his build has kind of gone up in terms of progression when it comes to speeds. I didn't compromise any of his accuracy so far, which is a great contribution. And then a little bit of my tankiness kind of came in a little bit. I won't lie, there's still some pieces on the build that I would like to kind of upgrade and make a little bit more effective for survivability purposes and whatnot. But this is kind of like a jump in the right direction. So those boots are going to be interchangeable along the way, you know? If we so happen to get a pretty decent champion that can help us do a speed tune comp for Clan Boss, for example, we actually could get some very good value out of it. Speaking of which, let's go ahead and do our Clan Boss runs here while we talk about some things that I'm looking to try to do in the next couple weeks. So, as of right now, I like the crit rate, crit damage, and the defense percent. It's 3 good like assets, 3 good stats for like a defensive nuker. Accuracy's not bad to complement it. 4 stars is a little bit of an unfortunate situation, but it is legendary. So if it rolls really, really well, maybe it can hold on for a little bit. That's my rationalization as of right now. Let's do hard. Let's see where we're at with this one. Looks like we got a blue HP percent crit rate. Could be usable. 4 stars, kind of a little bit leaning towards no. And then, of course, 4-star blue attack percent. I think I'm going to go ahead and let those go, because as of right now, I don't have the luxury of going the other stats until I get a lot more speed across the board. So, but that's where we are. I haven't made too crazy amounts of progress. We are double negative here when it comes to our champions that we're using against Clan Boss, so we may have a little bit lower of a performance this round. This is the only rotation where it kind of gets weird, because like Deacon and KO, who are the most progressed right now, are neutral / positive affinity, but then the other portion of our team is a little lackluster, and that's a little fort. I'd say like overall we're probably like slightly negative as a team against this affinity, but that's okay though, because like I said, as right now, Kale is our big powerhouse when it comes to damage, so hopefully he can keep the momentum going for as long as he can, and we can get as much damage as we can. I'm not gonna lie, I noticed a lot of the my fellow content creators have gotten a lot of really good champions, and we talk about it all the time, but it really does go important to note that these guys are really making some strides and leaps and bounds in terms of their account because of how well they were able to do. And I think that was a really great a great indicator about how good a early game grab at a specific champion or champions that are really good for your account, how monumental that could be for your progression. And I think that'll be the next step for us once we find a little bit of a luxury win here and there in terms of like champion pool. So as of aspirations, I'm probably going to continue to push the missions as much as I can to get as many sacred shards as I can. Maybe we try to pull sometime in the not too distant future with like the missions being progressed. Of course, Arbiter would be a great grab to help us progress in some other areas like PvP, for example, which is why I'm kind of excited that I took up Skull Crown. And I know that she's not fully ready yet. And I kind of made a nod to it with my collab video at Drog, but I think that someone like Skull Crown would be really, really great in the new set. And we are currently in the middle of that Forge Pass, so I was talking to people in the community as well as in general that it, like, you know, basically inquiring about whether or not it would be possible to get all the rewards on the free-to-play account. And if I don't miss a day and I stay on top of grabbing, you know, all the daily quest missions done and get them done, I should technically be able to get pretty far. And that's why I'm holding off right now on doing any big substantial gear farming or gear changes on someone like Skullcrown, for example, until we try making some crafts for that set. And if I can get enough pieces that are decent enough for her, then I'll use it on her, and then she's going to be a lot more stronger. So one of the things that set brings that's kind of nice is the ignore percent defense on AoE abilities, and that's something that Skullcrown actually does nothing but, right? So I think that's going to be a great contribution to her. That's going to improve her efficiency, not only in the areas of PvE that I'm currently using her in, like wave clear content, and of course a little bit of the clan boss right now, but I do think that like down the road it's going to be even better because we'll be able to give her just slightly a little bit more to work with, and I think that's what I'm hoping to see here. Looks like we're going to crap out here exactly at turn 19. Turn 19 is where I do see the damage kind of tick up a notch a little bit. 5.7 is not too bad. I'm actually going to do one more while I kind of tell you guys what else I'm going to be prioritizing. So, as of right now, my focus is, besides doing my dailies to grab as many resources as I can, we're actually prioritizing getting masteries done for Skullcrown as of right now. I am of the perspective that quality over quantity reigns supreme yet again. And although I don't have books to fully deck her kit out in terms of like abilities being upgraded, I can at least take care of one other fundamental aspect about her build, which is getting masteries done. I think the tier 6 mastery is beyond impactful. I took a champion who, in the same scenario, same gear, same book quality. It was Mountain King, as a matter of fact. I used the exact same build on him, right? Without masteries, and I used him in Live Arena, for example, in the earlier stages of Gold. And it was like, man, he does okay. You know, you could definitely tell that, like, the damage isn't as prevalent. I got his masteries done. Next thing you know, I was like, okay, well, that's a night and day difference. So I kind of go with the same mindset, especially for an early game account. The amount of impact that a set of masteries could do for a character could be really, really impactful. So I'm looking to see, hopefully, you know, as I start working on each of these champions. Now, I'm doing all of them at the same time, because I do think that, like, the state, I'm able to farm my stage 15, just so you guys are aware. And that, I don't know if I announced that as like an accolade that I won, but yeah, I have gotten to that as a milestone where I'm farming that pretty religiously, and I'm hoping that by the time I'm done with Skull Crown, we'll take a break from farming that, whether or not, you know, Rathalos and Oathbound are finished. We're going to go and we're going to farm other areas of the game, such as, you know, Campaign or Spider or Dragon, to get more resources to get the other guys to 6-star. Once they're at 6-star, we're going back into Minotaur again, and they're going to slowly make their progress that way. While they're getting levels, and I'm kind of double dipping in the sense, you know, Minotaur serves as a good XP outlet for the champions you're trying to bring up, as well as the masteries you're trying to bring up for the champions too. So it's a little bit of a double dip there, and I'm hoping that as long as I continue to go down that path, though, it'll pay off a little bit down the road. I think right now my current projection for the next big outburst is going to be roughly within the next week or so. I won't lie, I've been kind of keeping on a pacing where week 1 and 2, I pretty much acquired like 1 6-star, and it's kind of like been the pacing that I've had. I do think that getting Minotaur sessions in on a couple of days is going to slow down my level 60 acquisition rate, so like getting 6 stars. But I do think that at the very least, what I may end up doing is I might take a pause there, go run it down, and really get the last 2 champions that I want for this current team to get 6-star, and then take them all up into Minotaur so they're all finished, and then from there let them really expand into a solid contribution towards like progression in general. I think that's going to be really huge. The little bit I did do with each of my 6-stars so far has allowed me to farm in some really good places. That has placed me nice in the leaderboards, I'm not going to lie. But I also could tell that like it's going to help me expand further up down the road. And that's basically what I'm aiming for, is that by investing into the quality of these champions, I'll be able to take my farm, and instead of being complacent at like smaller areas of the game, like, for example, you know, only being able to do 9 or maybe 10, maybe I can start pushing up to 15, 16, so that the quality range of my gear, I'm getting more bang for my buck per energy, and that's what I'm aiming for, right? And then hopefully that'll contribute towards me being able to have a lot more of an effective experience when it comes to, like, pushing for actual content. So, as of right now, we're still facing an uphill battle, but I do think that the little bit that we have been able to do has been substantially beneficial, so I think that's really, really good. Challenges wise, it has slowed down a little bit. A lot of this is kind of like upgrade a champion to rank 6, ascend a champion to rank 6, which we'll get naturally over time. Winning a campaign battle using, you know, 4 level 60s. Keep a champion from every faction. That's kind of like shard pool dependent. You know, getting artifacts, upgrading that's going to come naturally, and then we'll go ahead and move on from there. Matter of fact, we might even do that sooner rather than later. And then some of these are just kind of contingent upon like you having a champion that can provide that debuff or that effective instant, for example, like stealing a buff or stealing the shield buff, you know, from it while beating stage 7, heal reduction while you're doing stage 7, and then of course using block debuff on a champion, or use a skill that removes debuffs while you're farming stage 7. So those will come kind of naturally. Same thing with upgrading affinity bonuses. I won't lie, I've still hit the roadblock when it comes to fighting in Gold 1. It's like I'm basically piecemealing it, and that's why you see me like post reset now. And I'm just gonna show you guys. We just had the reset for this week occur like a couple hours ago. So as of right now, you know, we all got right back to our previous tier. I'll be able to farm this page up pretty quickly. As a matter of fact, we could probably pick a couple of them really fast and clear them out. Hopefully we don't get diffed, but you know, clear as much as we can, get as much rewards as we can, get back into gold, maybe find some free gold fights, and then kind of go from there, right? That's kind of what I'm aiming for. I also hope that, like, as we improve the quality of the champions, this is going to be a lot more easier to farm, and that's something I'm kind of scoping out as a focus. It'd be nice to be able to do, right? And I won't lie, as of right now, it seems like we're on the same pacing, quote unquote, in terms of like being able to farm effectively up here. It looks like we're kind of on pace, but as always, we want to be careful with how we approach it and not get too overzealous, you know? Looks like we missed a little bit of a debuff there, but weak affinity, it happens. All right, let's see what else we got here. We got a couple of 50s here. It is a Helicast, so I'm a little worried about that one. But I think we do shoot our shot at it. Let's give it a try, even though it's like 3 legendaries. I normally don't do this, but since they're all 50s and we have a couple 60s, it means that our accounts progress a little bit more when it comes to champion quality. And it looks like we got a victory. So that's kind of like I said, what I look for. I look for level, and then I look to see what they have on their team, like a full 60 with someone like UDK who's +1. That's crazy. It's kind of scary. This one being a 50-50, 60-60 could be a little bit dangerous. Now, turn meter boosting, I think, does get affected negatively by Valkyrie, so her passive can be kind of an issue whenever they place a buff. Okay, never mind. Enemies will have their turn meter decrease for each buff they receive. So since we're not placing buffs, it's actually not that big of an issue. As long as we're faster than their initial speed booster, which we are, we get the decreased defense and the initial chance to fight them. She did get her counterattack on, which is kind of scary. Honestly, if we can get one of them down before we start losing some champions, I think we're going to be in the clearing, but this is 2 legendaries that we got to watch out for. Looks like I have my answer as to one way we can kind of clear this out, because he starts doing some AoEs, and we don't want to deal with that. I'm actually going to hit him with an A1 here, since I know he's going to die from that hit. We do get counterattacked, or we do get hit there. So now at this point, it's the battle of attrition. We do have Leech in play. Let's see if we can boost. We'll do a decreased defense here. It did land. Now all I need to do is just pack a decent amount of a punch, and we start clearing through it. I think we have our victory here. Go ahead and hit her a couple more times. And I think with KO, she's going to go again. She's going to get a little bit of a poison diff there. And then we A2, and then we clear the shop up. So very good win there. A little bit more like now I'm able to look at some champions like, all right, well, just because you have these champions doesn't necessarily mean it. I look at their star values now. I'm starting to look at levels and seeing what they got. Like, I'm just piecemealing whatever information I have, player power being 287. You just take all that and kind of quantify it and compare it to your teams and like, all right, is my progression enough to a point where I can take these fights? And then you could shoot a shot. Now, I won't lie. I did go against some teams where it's like, oh, man, it's only 1 level 60. I got 2 level 60s, and it's like 50 or level 40 something, which is kind of close to where my account level is at. And then I go against it. It's the Sun Wukong, by the way. And he was faster, stronger, and better. And I just couldn't beat it, so it was just kind of rough. So, you know, it's one of those things where we got to be a little bit careful with. But I do think that, like, now that Skull Crown, which is a really, really strong asset in the PvP department, I might be able to get a little bit more effort here. I'm not going to lie, this is looking kind of rough. I might actually lose this one. See, yet again, we're taking our efforts against these champions, and it looks like we're going to come up kind of short, which is no bueno. Now, we are positive affinity with Kale, so we might actually still have a chance here, but losing the full team all the way up until this point is already kind of alarming. Let's see here. It looks like we're very, very fast, so I'll be able to keep up the momentum here for a little bit. Since we turn meter boost and we still have that decreased defense, I'm going to go for the leech so I can kind of maybe out-sustain. Now we'll pack the punch here, get a little bit more value. Looks like she hasn't been able to land anything because we're positive affinity, so we'll go ahead and A2 to go for the win, and we got it. All right. That was a little scary. You know, not bad, Deliana, over here giving us a run for our money. Same thing here, though. See, all a bunch of 60s. We only have like 3 or 4 out of 60. So maybe we chill out a little bit here. You know, we don't want to, you know, be overzealous here. So this is a great point to take a little stopping break. We got a little bit of medals. We got a little bit, so we can wait for the reset and try to go for something else. I neglected, and I won't deny it. I've been so prioritizing like farming up like food and whatnot that I didn't push as hard as I probably should have for Bronze 2 efforts, and I think that's definitely kind of a little bit of a negative. I won't lie, with the last tier reset here that we got, I got 410 medals, and that should be enough. I believe we're at our final, in 9 hours, we're at our final efforts towards getting the last couple of champions we need for the fusion. At this point, going into the next reset for the next 9 to 4 hours, my efforts should go towards getting these guys upgraded and then fully ascended so that they can be fused, fuse these guys up, and then get these guys up and running so we can get our Broad Maw. I think Broad Maw will be a great contribution to the account for Faction Wars as well as some other areas in the game, hopefully, that we can maybe use and abuse, you know? Use this as a res outlet, because that could be very, very valuable for us, you know? We'll have to see. We'll have to see. But at the end of the day, I want to make sure that we got as much as we can out of this experience, so I wanted to try doing something a little different, and going for Broad Maw early was kind of like my little variable at let's try something else a little different. Now, I won't lie, another thing that I'm going to have to focus on is going to be getting some more champions, like the Heiress, the Spirit Host, and as well as the War Mania. We're going to have to get that so we can get just this year, because that mission is coming up. But in the meantime, I am going to try one more thing before we let you guys go. I'm going to do a sharp pull at the end of this one. Hopefully I remember this time. But we're going to try to see if we can get enough for you guys to experience a healthy round. I think, do I want to try pushing a little bit? I got a little bit of energy to work with. So let's go ahead and push and see what we could do here. I'm going to go ahead and try to see if we manual this one a little bit and see how far we can go. I'm not going to lie. I think the last time we tried this, we weren't as progressed. We do have a little bit more value in terms of some stats, but think we're in a good spot. Kale is also positive affinity, so I'm hoping that maybe we get some good value. His gear, his quality of life, everything has kind of gotten a little bit better. And if we can get a victory here, that'd be kind of interesting. Now his accuracy isn't where I would like for it to be at, but we are seeing a little bit of some gains there in terms of value. So I'm hoping that maybe we can continuously get some good chances here and there, and that'll give me a little bit more to work with. This is still not enough technically to get him fully down, and that's kind of a problem because we don't really have everybody fully destroyed here. Now we are boosting here, and that does give us a little bit of value. Got a couple of them that died. I think we're going to clear up a bit here, but I realistically wanted to get Kale in play before the boss goes, but unfortunately we didn't, so we lost a little bit. And of course Oathband is out. He's the most weakest developed out of everybody right now. But that's okay. That's okay. I think what we'll do here is we'll consume our first round here. I should be pretty fast, I think. I wanted to save that A2 until everything was up and running. We had another full sweep, but I think what we can do for now is keep prioritizing the boss and then let these two wave clear as much as we can, or these three technically, since he's still in play. I think he might be dying there here sooner rather than later though, so we're a little worried about that. But basically during this period where the Spiderling Horde passive is on cooldown, you have basically a round or two to be able to fully like clear up as much of the spiders as you can and also get as much damage as you can. So by the time you get to this heal, you're pretty much pretty low and you have him a little bit lower. But I'm not going to lie, the Battle of Attrition is something that we don't have going for us. We don't really have a cleanser. We don't have a reviver. And that's kind of where maybe I drop one of these champions in favor for like Broadmaw or something of the equivalent sense of it to get us a little bit closer towards it. But you notice how we're getting like closer and closer to this this turn chance where he's going to be eating his spiderlings and she's going to start healing up. I need to be careful with that. So one thing that I'm going to try to do is prepare for that, and unfortunately my cooldowns are in a really bad position for this. So I think maybe if we do it again next time, what we'll try to do is we'll try to open up with like not using the AoEs and then using it afterwards to help clear the wave and hopefully give us a little bit more to work with. Thankfully, her in lifesteal is actually kind of paying off. I don't know if you noticed, she's on the brink of death and then she's not, which is kind of nice. It's kind of nice. I'll tell you what I will do. I will delay the big heal or the big AoE that he has. We'll offset it. We'll use Skull Crown with the decreased defense to hopefully get us where we can clear the waves, and then by the time he gets to his, we have a little bit more going for us. So like that right there, for example, is not too bad. I do think we got to be a little careful because he does get turn meter boosting. She did die. It's a little unfortunate, but you know what? At the end of the day, it looks like we're not fully there yet, but that's something I'm looking to maybe fix up a little bit. Not too long down the road. I do think that as she gets leveled and her masteries go up, she's going to pack more of a punch, and the same thing for the other guys too as well. We got to input those in still. But I do think as of right now, I'm starting to see a little bit more. We couldn't even get this far last time we tried, just so you're aware. So this is a great visual to kind of let people know that like this is where we're at right now with this. See, look, I'm already farming up, and with the recent burst here, I'm actually gonna let this go in full auto at this point. I don't think he makes it through at the end. There's too much health that the boss has, and if we take too many poisons, it's gonna be kind of problematic. I will say we do heal up pretty well with it, but we need to kill the spiderlings, so the less that are attacking us, the better. But the more poisons they get, the worse it gets for us, so that's kind of a problem there. We are healing up. I think we kind of crap out here because there's just too many poisons. Yeah, it's just too many poisons at this point, so we get cleared off here. But that's the thing I would look to complete here. I'm actually gonna end the battle here. I didn't mean to do that. I think we have RSL helper running in the background over here, wasting my energy. But yeah, let's pull this shard. Let me see if we get anything crazy. I would like an epic of something of substance. Now, a Seeker would be great. A Hatatsu would be great. A Tay-Rail would be great. I'm not gonna lie, it would be dope that like in the next couple of iterations we could get something around the lines of like unkillable or block damage. Like say for instance, if I were to put my hands into getting, we'll just say for example, Seeker, right? And we pulled and we got a Seeker. And with Deacon, that's a really strong combination, right? If we got someone like Demitha, then all I am short of is an Eris away from being able to get my hands on an unkillable team that will basically propel my account. So, like, that would be it. It is contingent. I do think that, like, Hotatsu, for example, would probably be the better grab, considering that Hotatsu... Here, I'll just show you from the index. Hotatsu, on the other hand, as much as I talk so fondly of him is actually very valuable. You get an extra leash, so a little bit more redundancy. That decreased attack is nice, which is kind of where Oathbound is currently positioned at for the clan boss team side of things. But increased defense and continuous heals, another way of sustaining yourself, even though, you know, you're going through the battle of attrition. Tankiness in terms of increased defense, you know, just giving yourself a little bit more opportunity to stay in the fight a little bit longer. So he does provide that pretty well. He is kind of book heavy on some of these abilities, which is kind of rough, but if you get it on the A3 at the very least early on, that could be very substantially good. So that might be one I might go for too as well. I won't even lie, to even say Rail's not bad for a champion choice, right? Decrease attack, decrease turn meter. So attacks one enemy, decrease turn meter by 50%. That's great for Spider, for example, or single target hits where you need to do it on like maybe PvP, for example. If the attack fully depletes the turn meter, it will stun the target instead. The damage is proportional to defense. The attack all enemies has a chance of placing a decreased defense for 2 turns. If the target's under a decreased attack buff, it will place a sleep, which could be very, very valuable for like the Spiderlings, for example, right? Decreased attack could be very, very good there as well for being able to do some damage mitigation. They're all very good. I'm not going to lie, I want Seeker. I think Seeker would be great for PvP as well in terms of giving us some little extra value, a buff booster. So like Deacon and Seeker would be great as a go first type style comp. It would be a great viable injection into that team. That'd be one good one to go for. And then, of course, as well, his passive is actually not too bad. One thing that I will say on my main account that I didn't get to have early on was a Seeker. And although I am using him now, if I would have had him many, many moons ago, I think my progression would have been so much more different in terms of a visual. Provoke is also very, very valuable. The increased attack, and then, of course, the passive, which is the heals his champion and places increased defense on all allies when they're hit with a critical hit. This actually could be very, very strong too as well. And then, of course, he has an arena ore, which could actually be used and abused depending on how you want it. Very versatile champion, very, very strong. I think I'm going to go for Seeker because I just want him, and I'm going to do that for now. So let's pray. 3, 2, 1, and Preach. Prepo. Blue. A Lammerberg, though, is not bad. Heals, revive undeaf, continuous heals, and then has a chance of filling random turn meter of an ally by it, and then all battle ore. That is actually not too bad. Really good for Skinwalker's progression for Faction Wars, but also really good support. Maybe this might be the guy we use for a little bit, huh? We'll have to think about that one a little bit more. But, as always, the account's a little bit unlucky when it comes to getting some more epics. We wanted to get some more epics, but that's all right. That's all right. We take what we have. You know, I think we have a good start to work off with. So, with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed where we're currently at. Let me know. What do you think what should be one of my next primary focuses of the account? I'm kind of, I'm keen to hear what you guys have to say. I think there's going to be a lot of different opinions, but I value all of them, and I hope you guys know. Oh, I will say this before we get off. In terms of progressions, although I don't go crazily out of my way for, like, pulling shards or pulling certain resources in favor of the lunar event, as it's been complementary to my progression, I do it a little bit here and there, and I notice that I've gotten some value out of it as a byproduct, and I'm hoping that, like, as we get more and more resources, maybe we can get a couple pieces here and there along the way, and that could contribute towards me getting a little bit more progression as a result of it. So that's the way I look at it. It's complementary to my progressions, but it's not mandatory for my focus. So with that being said, yeah, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you guys think about the free-to-play so far. I feel like we still got a little bit more work to do, but I am on pace right now with at least 1 6-star a week. I think we're going to go back to prioritizing getting some more 6-stars. We'll take a little bit of a break on getting the masteries for Skullcrown for a little bit more, and start working on getting Rathalos up to 6-star, and then eventually Oathbound. Now, am I going to take anybody else up? I think at that point I'm going to start leaning towards Armigers, Athel, to name a few, and I think those would be more important as of right now. But I do think that we're kind of at the mercy of whatever we get after that point. So we'll kind of play it by ear, depending on how we get it. Anyways, I hope you guys all enjoy your evening, your afternoon, or morning, depending on where you're at. And always, always remember, stay ascended.